May 12th, we're going to have an emotionally intense full moon in the deep diving, transformational, let's get to the truth of the matter, water sign Scorpio. The moon will be opposite Uranus, which is a wild card, electrical, often discombobulating, planetary energy that can bring shocks, can bring disruptions, or it can bring epiphanies and aha moments and creative breakthroughs that can set us on a new soul-directed course that later we look back on and say that was absolutely meant to be. So in this video, my friend, I am excited to share with you who will feel this Scorpio full moon most intensely, most personally. How can you navigate the energies with the most ease and grace? And because Pluto is involved as well, I want to share some tips with you on how you can take the best care of you with so much intense energy happening during this full moon. In part 2, I will be doing readings for all 12 signs and as always pulling an oracle card for each of the signs as well. But before we dive into it, I want to warmly welcome you if you are brand new to the channel. I am so glad you have found us. This is a like-minded community. It's always my intention to empower you through Western tropical astrology. So if you would like to find your tribe, take a moment right now to tap that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you get a reminder when I upload my next video. A huge thank you to those of you who have subscribed and support the channel. It means more to me than you know, and there is no way that I would be here without your support. I'm Betsy. I am a psychic astrologer, intuitive life coach, and the author of the book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling. I am a full-time professional astrologer, so if you would like to do a private reading with me or a coaching session, I will tell you more about those offerings at the end of this video. I also have a free gift for you, so stay tuned till the end to find out what that is and how you can get it. And I write about the astrology between videos in my weekly inspirational astrology updates. To get those updates before they go out on social media, go to my website, sign up for free, and you will also get my free gift, instant download, at the same time. All full moons bring us a full circle moment, a completion, culmination, or ending of a manifestational cycle that we began on the new moon in the same sign 6 months earlier. So this particular full moon is culminating a cycle that began November 19th of 2024 when we had the Scorpio new moon. You could look back to that time and think about what was happening or go through your emails like I just did and notice if anything important, especially on an emotional level, was happening for you around that November 19th date. This full moon could also be a mini culmination of seeds that you planted during the also very intense Taurus new moon that we had on April 27th. That new moon made a T-square to Mars and Pluto, which were opposing one another. So I feel that this full moon is inviting us into a wonderful emotional release to complete a lot of this very intense energy that we have been experiencing since November of 2024. And a lot of us have done a tremendous amount of inner work, shadow work, if you will, that may bring us during this full moon into a moment of, look how far I've come. Now, we tend to feel full moons in relationships because they are what we call oppositions. The sun and the moon are opposing one another during a full moon. And so it is you and then another person or people across from you in which you often experience full moon energy. During this full moon, we have the moon in deep emotional water Scorpio and the sun in earthly Taurus, which normally is quite stabilizing energy, except Uranus is also next to the sun, destabilizing things. What's especially notable during this full moon is that not only are the sun and the moon in fixed signs, and fixed energies want to maintain what they have, especially our resources. Not only are the sun and the moon in fixed energies, we have 6 planets in fixed signs. The sun, the moon, Mars, Pluto, Mercury, and Uranus are all in signs that want to keep things the same as they are. And I don't think there's anyone among us that isn't aware right now that we are going through a massive period of change. Most of you watching my videos, I think, are highly sensitive, empathic souls. And then add to that, a lot of you are in transitional time right now. So there will be a part of all of us during this full moon that wants to keep things the same. And so the more that we can be flexible, we can be adaptable. This is one of the superpowers of astrology, is that we can prepare ourselves to know that there will be a part of us that is holding on tightly, even clinging to what is. What I love about Scorpio energy is that love, passion, focus for what we most desire runs deep. There is an enormous depth of feeling. Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars and Pluto. Mars wants to go. Mars wants to get into action for whatever is motivating it. And Pluto transforms. Pluto takes our passion or our pain and helps us transform through it. And the way I think of the intensity of Pluto is it's what we would live or die for, but it's also the great detoxifier. It shows us where something or some person or situation or event is toxic to us, and it represents our deepest emotional attachments. Scorpio is connected to the 8th house of the zodiac, which is our emotional and sexual intimacy, our addictions, debts, loans, taxes, assets, long-term investments, nest eggs. It's where you want to build wealth and security, whatever that means to you. And in Scorpio energy, we can be intensely focused, even bordering on obsession for what matters most to us. And because Pluto is the co-ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto brings up our unconscious fears, during this full moon, you may very well notice fears rising to the surface that feel very dark or feel dire or make you feel out of control in some way, powerless. Scorpio is the sign of power and control. This may be the full moon that we are nudged to break free of a codependent pattern, but to do so, we might have to feel that Scorpio stinger, I'm sorry to say, which can be the perception on a very human level that the rug has been pulled out from underneath us in some way. Now, because I see all of us who are in this soul family together as spiritual warriors, a full moon in Scorpio that involves Pluto, which I'm going to get to in a moment, is encouraging us to use any fear that comes up, any anger, any frustration as a catalyst for our growth. What I notice in my own experience, because I'm always working through my fear, is that often these very deep, dark, sort of core level survival fears that come up in Scorpio energy, they are tied to past lives. They are tied to lifetimes upon lifetimes for many of us in which we felt perhaps excluded or shunned or betrayed, abandoned, you fill in the blank. And so every time we have a lunation like this, we have the opportunity to release a layer of that hurt or pain. Now let's talk about Uranus for a moment, because there's a high octave and a low octave to all the planets, including Uranus. And when I say high and low octave, I'm referring to how our human self receives or perceives the energy. So the high octave of Uranus is eureka moments, quantum leaps, creative breakthroughs, those things we all love, epiphanies, excitement. It's electrical energy. It can be really exciting. It can be something we didn't plan on happening that comes in that just really lifts us up and helps us see ourselves or our lives with brand new eyes. But to receive Uranus in that way, we have to be in that higher vibration, right? If we've been stagnant, and often we don't know that we're stagnant, if we've been playing it safe, which is very human, or we haven't wanted to take a risk, we haven't wanted to go out of our comfort zone, then Uranus can show up as something breaking, something disruptive, something shocking even, to get our attention, to wake us up to new options that our soul wants to show us. And a lot of times this is about freedom and liberation. How many times have we kept ourselves in a situation because we were dependent on it in some way? Often financially when we're talking Scorpio, Taurus energy. So ultimately, this full moon wants to free us emotionally, especially. And I find it interesting that it's happening the day before Mother's Day, which is celebrated the second Sunday of May in 77 countries. That surprised me. And so a lot of us may feel this during the Mother's Day weekend, especially those of us who are super sensitive. I know I feel full moons usually several days before they actually occur. And we could get triggered around Mother's Day because we tend to have a lot of emotional expectations. And so self-love is the order of the day for sure. Taking care of you, my friend, taking care of your heart. Now, I always like to caution with Uranus energy to be super careful when you're driving, if you're operating any kind of heavy machinery, if you are cooking, because we can be a lot less mindful and more easily have accidents with Uranus aspects. Now, not all of us will feel this full moon as intensely as others. How you experience this full moon will depend on how this full moon is aspecting any planets or points in your natal astrology chart. It is happening at 22 degrees of Scorpio. 22 degrees is a spiritual master number, which I will speak about in a moment. But those of you who have planets or points between 18 and 26 degrees of Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius, the fixed signs, you will feel this full moon more emotionally, more intensely than others. Of course, we all have 22 degrees of Scorpio and Taurus somewhere in our natal astrology chart, so we will all feel this full moon on a certain level. We will certainly feel it collectively, especially because Pluto is squaring Mercury, which I'm going to get to in a moment. Collectively, this moon in Scorpio opposing Uranus and Taurus brings in themes of extreme weather, potentially earthquakes, flooding, or fires, I'm sorry to say, and volatility in the financial markets. Now, 22 degrees heightens the intensity of this full moon that much more. Why? Because 22 is a master builder number. It's where we want to build something of lasting value, something that we can leave to others as a legacy even. But it's also quite transformational, meaning stuff comes up for us to process and heal or release. The 22 represents emotional self-mastery in partnership with others, any kind of partnership, not just a marriage or significant other or romantic partner. So we can be looking at a dependence on another person to act in a certain way toward us, our expectations, a desire to have our love reciprocated that doesn't feel like it's playing out that way. Keep in mind that Venus and Neptune are both in Aries during this time, and Aries energy is I am. It's about our own self-directed course of action. What does this mean? The Venus in all of us, and remember that the Sun and Uranus are both in Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. The Venusian energy within many of us during this full moon time is self-directed, self-focused. So it may feel even more like you are at odds with another during this full moon. You both want different things. You both may be looking at each other saying, you're being selfish. Now, this is really interesting. Keep in mind that we are building toward an exact conjunction of the Sun in Taurus with Uranus that will happen on May 17th, 5 days after this full moon. Sun conjunct Uranus can be a very positively, or what feels very negative to our human selves, explosive moment. We could be exploding into ecstasy of, oh my gosh, I have the answer now. I see the light. I get it. I have a new idea that I have to follow, that I have to act on. It could be that, or it can be a huge moment of understanding, awareness that I have to cut ties with something that's been very, very important to me. I do believe that many of us are going to receive a beautiful breakthrough moment around this May 17th time. But before we get there, on this full moon, less than an hour after the full moon peaks, less than 1 hour, we're going to have an exact square between Mercury, the planet of communication, the planet of news and the media, an exact square between Mercury and Pluto. Pluto often showing up as the wrecking ball, as the revealer of some sort of truth. And so I do think that we will likely have news of something volatile that happens that could be violent, it could be shocking, or news that has been pushed down, suppressed, hidden, that involves lies or, people acting out of integrity, power plays, power games, people in power abusing others. It's important to note that Pluto is retrograde during this full moon. It turned retrograde on May 4th, and that means that the communications, anything that feels plutonic during this full moon time, may feel like a blast from the past. It may feel like something that you thought you cleared or healed that comes back up again. As a spiritual psychotherapist said to me many, many, many years ago, there are many layers. There are many layers of the emotions that a lot of us are purging and releasing in this lifetime. So be easy on yourself. Be compassionate with yourself and your process. With a Scorpio moon, that is opposing wild card Uranus. And at the same time, Mercury squaring Pluto. These energies are so potentially triggering on an emotional level that I want to give you a few tips. If you feel powerless to change what is going on, caring for your feelings in the moment, taking care of your most immediate needs, and accepting what you can't control. Taking back your power. How do we take back our power? We look to what we can control and we focus on that. The serenity prayer, we can pray for the wisdom to know the difference between what is in our control and what isn't. Really, this is about us staying in our own integrity and setting self-respecting boundaries. Because when we say, no, this is not okay with me, okay, I'm not doing that because that doesn't work for me. And when we set that boundary, we realize we do have options that we didn't see before. Because Mercury is squaring Pluto, it may be our own thoughts that need detoxifying. We may be thinking and feeling things that aren't even the truth of the reality that we're experiencing. They're just a shadow of what we experienced in past lifetimes that we are meant to release and let go. And for this, I love EFT tapping. I am a huge fan of EFT tapping. Why? Because it moves the energy both out of the emotional and the physical body. We also want to remember that we can't go back to the old self. We are moving forward. We've come too far. And I think that the truth that a lot of us are going to experience, maybe a moment of reckoning with ourselves, of the truth of who we are now and how we're feeling about life now, is that I am no longer willing to sacrifice my own emotional well-being. I am no longer going to stay in any kind of situation that isn't honoring of me. And I'm not going to give my own power away to my own survival fears, right? We can step back and recognize that's a fear of my mind that has to do with survival. It's not the truth of who I am. And I'm not going to allow myself to take an action that is based on an inner narrative that is based in fear, because that's how we abandon ourselves. And we have come way too far in our evolution. Most of us have moved through some of the most difficult experiences in this lifetime. We have risen from adversity multiple times. And so we can look back on that and say, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I'm resourceful. If something appears to be leaving my life that was giving me security, I will rise to the occasion once again, as I have before, and I will get through this with flying colors. Now, I also want to let you know that we do have a very supportive planetary conversation going on during this full moon that could be quite stabilizing. The moon in Scorpio is being trined by Saturn in Pisces. Saturn helps us to set boundaries. In Pisces, Saturn will help us to release anything that is no longer in alignment with our soul's path. And Saturn will bring an ease and flow to any process of emotional release. Remember that Saturn at the end of May, May 24th to be exact, and I speak about this at length in my May 2025 astrology video. Saturn on May 24th is going to leave Pisces and move into Aries, the sign of the spiritual warrior, the sign of the leader, the sign of I'm ready to take a risk. I'm going to say yes to my heart. I'm going to do this scary thing because my soul is calling me to do it. That's where Saturn is about to take us. So what if this full moon is one last opportunity to release and let go of anything that is emotionally holding us back, any fears about our survival, so that we can follow that Saturn joining up with Neptune in Aries. We can say yes to that dream of our heart with less emotional baggage, less weighing us down. So my closing advice to you before we do the 12 sign readings: don't allow yourself to be abused or mistreated. If you need support, get the support you need. Acknowledge and honor any truth that is revealed during this full moon and say what you need to say, my friend. One of my favorite songs, John Mayer songs, say what you need to say. And I have a full moon mantra for you, which is nothing is more important than my emotional well-being, my peace. I resolve, I vow to love, respect, and cherish myself as the precious being that I am. Okay, my friend, let us do the 12 sign readings now. Listen to your rising sign. This is the area of life corresponding to the area of your chart in which you will be experiencing this Scorpio full moon. Listen to your sun sign and your moon sign for further themes and intuitive messages as well. And we're going to start with Scorpio because beautiful Scorpio, this is your full moon and it is happening in your first house of identity, the roles that you play, the way you see yourself, the way you want other people to see you, how you perceive your life and your life experiences. It's also your vitality, your appearance, what you wear. Some of you may want to get some sort of a makeover during this time or maybe just a haircut, but you get the idea. What does this mean to have a full moon in your first house of identity and roles and status? It means that one of those could change during this full moon. Now remember, a full moon is a closing out, a full circle completion of a manifestational cycle. And this one began back in November of 2024, November 19th to be exact. We can have revelations, we can have something wonderful come to pass. For example, because it's identity and roles, some of you could solidify a relationship or take a relationship to a next level. Why? Because you identify with it. Or you could start a new business, or you could let go of a job or a job title. You could get a promotion. Basically, this is the house of you, Scorpio. And the first house opposes your seventh house of partnerships. Uranus is going to be opposing this moon, conjunct the sun and Taurus and opposing the moon, and it will be in your seventh house of partnerships. So you will likely, if you have a Uranus moment, if you are your rising sign or any other planets or points in your first house are being activated by this full moon, you will experience any Uranus moment through a person that you consider important in your life, whether it's a romantic partner, someone that you're married to, someone that you live with, an adult child sometimes it's a boss or a coworker, anyone that you perceive as an important person in your life that you have a spoken or unspoken commitment to. You could feel something come out of left field, as we say, out of the blue, unexpected. And because Mercury's involved and Pluto's involved, and I speak about what that all means in the first part of this video, so please go back and watch that if you haven't already. This is an important full moon for you, Scorpio. Because Mercury and Pluto are involved, it could be something shocking that the other person says. Mercury is the planet of communication, or you could get a revelation, an epiphany, a light bulb moment, as we say, that feels like a breakthrough to you, that feels like something that you didn't see or understand before, an awareness that is quite potent, because Pluto, Mercury, that's potent. Pluto's potent. And a part of you could feel like it's dying. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, Scorpio, you're usually quite comfortable with the idea of an ego death. And an ego death is a part of us that is releasing, letting go, dying because we've outgrown it. We've evolved past it. It doesn't mean, though, that it's easy. It's still, grief is often still involved. So, Scorpio, I don't want to end on that note because I don't want to end on the note of grief for you. And we're going to pull a card for you. What I want to say is that this is going to be a potent full moon for you. It's going to be a full moon that is going to take you into the next level. And I always channel, if you guys don't see, I have a stellium in the 12th house. So when I'm looking in different places, it's because I'm receiving the energy while I'm talking to you. And what I'm getting is that I'm feeling right now a real excitement in my heart. I think this is going to be a heart chakra full moon. I think a lot of us are going to feel it in our heart chakra. I think that it's calling on us to do releasing, emotional releasing, to consciously go into the fear. Most of you Scorpio people, I see a whole spectrum here, but a lot of you as spiritual warriors, you're willing to go into the fears. This is a full moon that is saying, go into the fear. Don't fear is very natural, right? We have the human part and we have a soul level part of us, and the soul is not afraid. of anything. The soul is in flow, but the human part of us is afraid of change. And this will be a full moon for most of us that if it doesn't change our actual physical life, it's bringing up fears of change. It's bringing up fears of not getting our needs met. It's bringing up fears of releasing some sort of emotional attachment. But I get a real excitement. I just did a moment ago, an excitement around what's to come. Because when we release something that's no longer in alignment with us, of course, that opens up room for us to have experiences that are aligned with our new evolutionary, our new vibrational frequency. And we feel best, of course, I know this goes without saying, we feel best when we are experiencing other people and situations and environments that are in alignment with our true frequency. It's like if you were listening to a song that's like, there's some music that for some of us rearranges our molecules. I know that sounds weird, but it's actually been proven that heavy metal, for some people, it rearranges their molecules in ways that we don't want. We don't want our molecules always rearranged. So, and then there's also some music that's just like so in harmony with us that we just melt, right? It just melts our heart. We dissolve into tears, or we just want to close our eyes and just listen to that same song over and over. So you get the idea. We feel better. We feel raised up and elevated when our life, our situations, the people in our life are in alignment with our vibrational frequency. Okay, let me pull a card for you now, Scorpio. Let me pull a card for you. Your card is the Unmarked Trail, Revelation. Oh my goodness. So here we go, right? I mean, this full moon is all about revelations, Uranus. That's Uranus. And what I love about this card, also heart chakra, the green, all the light, the trail that you are on, of course it's unmarked. You are following your soul. We are all going into new territory with Neptune now in Aries and Saturn about to join Neptune in Aries. We are all embarking on a hero's journey. Hero's journeys all have obstacles. And when we move through those obstacles, as we can see in the movies that we watch, the transformational movies, Harry Potter, whatever your favorite transformational movie is, the hero of the movie, the protagonist, goes through obstacles. And as they move through them, overcome them, rise to the occasion, rise through adversity, they enter the light. And that is where you are headed. Beautiful, Scorpio. So if anything that I shared resonates and you'd like to share, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Libra. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, you are going to experience this very emotionally intense Scorpio full moon in your second house. Now, the second house is the house of self-reliance, material security, our possessions, our earned income, our values, what we want to experience in life that is aligned with our vibrational frequency and our self-worth and deserving. So it's possible, because Uranus is in the 8th house, basically this full moon's happening on the financial axis. The moon is in the 2nd house. The sun and Uranus will be in the 8th house. It's happening across the axis because the sun and moon oppose each other, and the moon will oppose Uranus. And so it's happening on your financial axis, which brings up themes of money, power, stability. Who doesn't want financial stability in their life? Who doesn't want to have the deep sense of I am loved and I am valued? That's also the second 8th house axis, because the 8th house, where the sun and Uranus are during this full moon, it brings up the themes of emotional and sexual intimacy. It brings up our emotional attachments. It brings up assets and debts and nest eggs and retirement funds, and just the general themes of power and control. So for you, during a full moon in the 2nd house can be something, a source of income leaves or a source of income shows up. It can be either one. Or we just have our fears triggered around a source of income leaving. That could happen too. But remember, what does this full moon want from you? How is it supporting you? The full moon is supporting you to deepen your self-reliance, to deepen your sense of, I have my own back. I can provide for myself. It's what an amazing feeling, right? So many of us in this lifetime have moments or, ebbs and flows of finances. We have ebbs and flows. And if you've been in a relationship in which, you shared money, time, or resources, the eighth house where the sun and Uranus are for you, Libra, during this full moon. If you've been in a relationship like that and that relationship has dissolved or broken up, you've had to divide most likely resources, or you've experienced less after that division just because it tends to be less expensive to live in one household for two people, right? To share. So obviously there are a lot of different themes that are coming up. Some of you could be dealing with taxes. Some of you could be paying off a loan or a debt. Some of you could be stepping into a relationship in which you are about to share power, money, and resources, and your fear could be coming up around that. Whenever we embark on change, that brings up fear for our human self. That's part of the process. But with Uranus in the eighth house opposing the moon, Uranus in the eighth house usually shows if there's going to be a discombobulating moment or something disruptive happening, it usually has to do with another person. Second house is you. The eighth house is the we. So usually it comes through an action or a communication, something that the other person wants, sometimes that isn't in alignment with what you want. That could be it too. Libra, this is a full moon in which to take back your power if you have a moment. Not everyone is going to feel it as intensely as some will. As I speak about in the first part of this video, to find out who will and who won't, that's what I talk about in the collective reading for everyone in part 1. And a card just flipped over, so this is going to be your card, and it says, it's number 1, new beginnings, clarity and organization, Libra, a tidy house. So I love this card because it's very, very earth-based, and basically it's saying, where do you have clutter in your life? We can have physical clutter in our home or office. We can have, or a car, right? We can have clutter in our emotions. We can have clutters in our, on our actual computer, hard drives, etc. We can have clutter, mental clutter. So this card, it's different for all of you, but some of you are going to relate to having clutter somewhere. Who doesn't have clutter somewhere? Pretty much all of us do. Is there a closet that needs to be cleaned out? Could you clean out a garage or a basement? Could you have a conversation with somebody close to you about, maybe it's financial clutter. Maybe there's your if you do have investments, maybe that needs to be shifted. Maybe some of you are selling a house or buying a house in the process of some sort of house, something to do with your home. And usually that means we have to do some sort of clearing of the home, staging, all those things that we do these days if we want to sell. Or, well, you get the idea. So it's going to be different for all of you, but this is saying when you clear a physical space, your mind gets cleared. A tidy house brings that clarity. The organization that we create when we clear out our mind or our emotions or our physical space, it brings a clarity. And clarity is what is on offer for you when you clear something. Beautiful Libra, if this resonates for you, it's going to help you with your new beginning, the number 1, whatever you are reaching toward. And Libra, you do have Neptune and Aries opposite your first house now in your 7th house of partnerships. Saturn's about to be there. So this is a big, big transit for you. And I do have a separate video for you on that transit. But all of this is to say that you are about to, many of you about to embark on a new beginning with both Neptune and soon to be Saturn in your 7th house opposite your energy. It's a big new beginning, a big new chapter for you. Let's say an important new chapter for you in the realm of partnerships, business, or personal. So beautiful Libra, if anything that I shared resonates for you, leave me a comment. I would love to hear. Virgo, hello, beautiful Virgo. Virgo, you are going to experience the moon in Scorpio in your 3rd house. I call the 3rd house the house of moving and shaking. We are usually very busy during a moon in the 3rd house, whether it's a new moon or a full moon. It's a full circle culmination or manifestation or ending. And for you, this could have to do with your mindset or your communication, something that you write. It could have to do with a website or a business that you have or any sort of freelance work that you do, a relationship with a sibling, aunt, uncle, or cousin, or neighbor, or landlord, or mortgage broker. It is the errands and the regular things that we do in our local environment, how we are interacting and interfacing with other people, because this is the house of Mercury and it often brings up our everyday dealings and conversations and so on with others. This is where the moon is going to be for you. So very likely you are working on something, or maybe you're about to lease an apartment or lease something. Maybe you're about to, like a car, or maybe you want to buy a new car, or maybe you want a new device. You are getting a sextile from the full moon. It sextiles your energy, and that is a workable solution. That is an opportunity. That's you seeing a need for something, taking action, and then having that need met. And where the sun and Uranus will be conjunct, opposite, the moon is in your ninth house of expansion. So Uranus in the ninth house, Uranus can bring those wonderful epiphanies and creative breakthroughs. It can also bring something we didn't expect. If you're trying to get a visa, the ninth house, if you're trying to do some foreign travel or move to a foreign place, that could be, Uranus there could be upsetting the apple cart. Usually it's temporary. Or Uranus could be like a eureka moment. I have to go do this. Uranus can really catalyze us into some sort of adventure or new horizon. It could be long distance travel, but it could also be higher learning, a degree program that you participate in. You could be graduating from a degree program. Somebody in an environment in which you are pursuing something with any of the themes that I just mentioned could stimulate you, Uranus, electrify you in some way. You meet someone from another culture, perhaps, that is quite magnetic to you or magnetizing to you. Any of these things. In the ninth house, you could get a real awakening truth. Or you can Uranus can be cutting things out too. You could cut out a religion from your life, cut out something that has been in alignment with a philosophy or how you were conditioned, and then you change that. You realize this is no longer right for me, and so I'm letting it go. But big picture, a full moon on the third and ninth house axis like this one is about your growth. It's about learning, awakening, expanding, and or any message that you want to share with others through writing, through speaking, through teaching, through publishing. Any of that. You could get a publishing contract that's out of the blue, an offer to teach a course. Anything that you want to share with the world, that could be part of your full moon experience as well. So now, beautiful Virgo, let me pull a card for you. What I love is that Uranus is trining your energy. The sun is trining your energy, both in Taurus, Earth like you. That's makes any Uranus moment easier. And then the moon is sextiling your energy. So overall, it's very supportive to your Virgo energy. Let us see what the cards have to say for you, Virgo. Big picture, new horizons and expansion. Learning, growing. Virgo, your card is Root Girl, the Disowned Self. This is one of my favorite cards, and I'm going to tell you why. 46 reduces to a 1, which is a new beginning, and Root Girl is the child within all of us, girl or boy, whatever you relate to, that we often, quote unquote, disown. We put her to the side unconsciously. Why? Because she represents a survival fear. She's the part of us that didn't get nourished as a child. But Root Girl is also the nourishment that we can receive when we bring her back into our life, the safety, the security we can feel. And this full moon, make no mistake, this full moon is about safety and security on the Scorpio Taurus axis. Absolutely. And Root Girl says, bring that girl or that boy back into your arms. Put your arms around that child Tell that child you will never ever leave him or her. You have their back. Tell them the things that you never were told as a child. The things about you that make you you, that make you unique, that allow you to put your special stamp, give your special contribution to the world. Root girl, by embracing root girl or root boy, you build a sense of rootedness. You put your own roots deeper into the center of the earth. And this is something that I can help you with in a coaching session if you're interested in doing a process like that, connecting with your inner child. It's something that I do at times with coaching clients when it feels like it would be healing for my client. So beautiful, Virgo. If anything that I shared resonates for you and you would like to let me know, I love connecting with you. Let me know in the comments below. Leo, hello, beautiful Leo. Leo, the moon in Scorpio is happening for you in your 4th house of home, family, and childhood conditioning, the house of ancestral healing, the house in which we want to feel rooted. We want to feel like we belong wherever we are. We want to feel like we are solid and secure. And for you, a full moon here is showing you anything in your home life that doesn't feel absolute, or your family life. It could be family of origin. It could be the family that you've created. Anything that feels out of alignment potentially, or that is a aha moment, an awareness, an understanding that comes from Uranus. Uranus is now transiting your 10th house of career. So that moment of awakening, it could be a creative catalytic breakthrough too. It doesn't have to come in a very harsh, discombobulating way, although oppositions often come through another person and they often do surprise us in some way, and it can be shocking. And because you are getting a square, which is an aspect of tension or pressure, you're getting a square to your Leo energy, it could come through, I have to say, in a way that doesn't feel easy or flowing. And it could come through somebody at work or somebody that you perceive to have power in some way over your career, over career choices. The 10th house is not just career for those of you who are retired or who don't have what you would call a career. It can be your legacy. It can be how you spend your time in retirement or semi-retirement. It can be the way you express your sense of purpose, life purpose expressed. So I think this is going to be, for those of you who do have planets or points around the degree of this full moon, I do think, and I talk about all of that in the first part of this video, I do think that you are going to have, if you do, are going to have a very important moment of reckoning, of reconciliation, some of you, of resolve, of understanding that there is a survival fear. We all have survival fears. That's just part of how we're wired as human beings. But the question is, do we let our choices be run by our survival fears, right? Or do we let our choices be run by our soul's desire to have new experiences? And we're all entering new territory with Neptune and soon Saturn together in Aries. And that energy trines you, Leo. So that's really beautiful. I do have a separate video on Saturn and Neptune and Aries. Very soon I'm going to do a separate video on Saturn and Aries, so that will be important for you because you're getting wonderful fiery trined energy from the Aries energy. But that is all to say that we are all headed into new territory. We all are. And you know what I like about a square, as much as none of us really wants to, our human selves are not like, oh, a square, yay. No, we don't do that. But some of you may. But what I like about a square is that it means that we are motivated to take action. We have to go through some discomfort with a square. We have to reach, we have to stretch, or we have to, what I love to do, tap through the fears. Tap through, release a layer of fear. And in a Scorpio full moon, it's saying, dive into the fear, lean into the fear, move through the fear. What is a fear? False evidence appearing real. Fears are often the way that we grow, shift, and evolve. Without fear, we probably wouldn't, right? We would be too comfortable. So Leo, let me see what the cards have to say for you. And because during this full moon, Mars will be in your sign still, it's going to be in your sign all of May and part of June, you could feel quite fired up during this full moon. Quite fired up. And ready to advocate for yourself, which is a real, not that Leos usually have a hard time advocating for themselves, but it could be a real boost. It's different for everyone because we have so many energies in our chart. So many different energies. And some can be energies that do have a hard time advocating. Some can be energies that do have a hard time setting boundaries. And others can be fiery and fierce and have not a hard time. And we are made up of all these different energies. So it's complex. We are complex beings. Let's see what the cards have to say for you, Leo. Ah, Leo. Your card is time to replenish. Do you feel like you're empty, like your well is empty, Leo? Do you see all the fire in this card? I see this as you. I actually see, and this is a spiral, of course, but I actually sense and feel a snake here. We are in the year of the snake, shedding a skin. And because Mars in Leo has been opposing Pluto, and that's been going on for a long time, ever since December, you could feel tired. You could feel like I'm done with all of this. So the light is beckoning you, your own soul receiving the unconditional love of the divine. Leo, I have a meditation for you, a free meditation that you can get by signing up for my free inspirational astrology updates, which are basically an article a week to inspire you and support you. And then when you sign up to receive that, you also get a free instant download of my meditation, which I'm mentioning because of this replenishing, filling up the well. And in that meditation, it is absolutely my intention to connect you to your divine source that can replenish you. So beautiful Leo, you are being given an invitation to rest and replenish. How beautiful is that? If anything that I shared, and I love all the purple, divine energy too. If anything I shared resonates and you want to comment, I would love to hear. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer, I have my moon and rising in Cancer. And so I want to tell you, first off, that this full moon is going to trine your Cancer energy. And that is really beautiful. Flow, wind at your back, lots of support. The full moon is happening for you in your 5th house of children, creativity, creative projects, inner child delight, love, and romance. It is an intense place, I believe, to have a full moon. I mean, I love having Scorpio in my 5th house as a Cancer rising, and at the same time, it can be triggering. It absolutely can. If my children don't meet my expectations, if I said if, sometimes that happens. You know, that's this earthly life, right? This human life. Sometimes others don't meet our expectations. If love and romance doesn't meet my expectations, that's happened too. We can get very emotionally triggered, but then it's an opportunity to move that energy, right? It's an opportunity to heal those I believe, many eons of past lifetimes in which we experienced deep, deep pain. So I'm telling myself that this is an opportunity, if I'm triggered during this full moon emotionally, it's an opportunity to clear another layer. And the full moon opposes the sun, or the moon itself opposes the sun and Uranus in the 11th house of the world, the 11th house of your online presence, if you have one, any social media account that you have when you talk to other people on social media, so to speak. Your supporters, your allies, your friendships. And the 11th house is also your hopes, wishes, and dreams, long-term financial gains. So Uranus here, and all Cancer rising people have experienced Uranus in their 11th house for some time now. And you could have had during that time friendships come and go. You could have had a lot of change in what you call support, feeling supported or not supported at different times. You could have met new lots of new people that have been supportive to you. And you could have hatched a new dream, and you could have worked on your long-term financial stability as well. But again, you're getting a trine from this full moon to your Cancer energy. Some of us will get other aspects to other energies in our chart, right? But to your Cancer energy, you're getting a trine. So let us see what the cards have to say. And when I tell you all these themes, of course, what I'm saying is like, these are probably the things that are going to be playing out for you during this full moon. And like I said in the first part of this video, this is going to be a weekend, the weekend before the full moon, that I think a lot of people will, this whole month, a lot of people are focused on the self with Venus and Neptune in Aries. Okay, let me pull a card for you. So take care of you, Cancer. It's something that all of us with Cancer energy really work with in this lifetime, right? Taking care of ourselves. Your card is needing direction. Do you need direction, Cancer? Do you feel lost in space? You could feel like you're between worlds right now. We're still in that time of between dreams, a lot of us. It's a very transitional year, especially given that Saturn is in Pisces now, but it's going to move into Aries, and then it's going to move back into Pisces for a short time. Same with Neptune. Uranus is going to the last degrees. It's going to move into Gemini and then move back into Taurus. I mean, this is a very transitional year, meaning we have one foot in one world and one foot in a new world, and the new world is the new dream. But we are currently, here's the world, and Uranus and the Sun are in the 11th house of the world during this full moon for you. But what I love about this image is she's leaning into the earth. She's cheek to cheek with the earth. And she's getting an epiphany. Look at the light streaming from her third eye. She's having a third eye activation. So now that I look at this image and sense what this is, I would say you're getting a third eye activation during this full moon, and you are getting an epiphany. Stay close to Mother Earth in your intuitive connection. Feel your roots going deep into the earth. Ask Mother Earth to remind you of her support and her connection. Put those roots down. When I work with coaching clients, I always begin the session with roots going deep into the Mother Earth and pulling that earth energy up through the roots, up through the body, connecting to the spirit. Very, very nourishing and stabilizing exercise that we can all do. Beautiful, Cancer. This card is a 36, which reduces to a 9, which is an ending or completion. Some of you may be experiencing that as well. If anything I shared resonates and you'd like to share, I would love to hear. Leave me a comment. Let us know. Gemini. Hello, beautiful Gemini. Gemini. I have my natal sun in Gemini. And those of you who are Gemini risings will experience this full moon in Scorpio in your 6th house. Your 6th house of wellness, also your daily work, your habits, your health habits, how you feed yourself, how you exercise, nutrition, how you do your life, what you would call the routines of your life. This is an important full moon, Scorpio in the 6th house. Geminis, you can leave me a comment about this. In my experience, Geminis cannot be casual about their health. They have to be aware of getting enough sleep. You have to be aware of making sure that your hygiene on all levels, and I don't mean taking showers, I mean sleep hygiene and how we eat and, what we allow into our bodies or don't, and how we move our bodies. Most Geminis love to move. A lot of Geminis love to dance. I love to dance. I think that's my Gemini energy. And so most Geminis are able to keep themselves very youthful. It's considered the sign of youth. But sometimes things can get clogged, Scorpio. They can get clogged. They can get the plumbing, so to speak, can back up. That's Scorpio too. We have to release our emotions on a regular basis. Gemini people do. The Sun and Uranus are going to be opposite the moon during this full moon in the 12th house of rest, retreat, the mystic, your spiritual awakening, your subconscious mind. So something from your subconscious could come up. Could be a wonderful revelation. It could be a dark fear. It could be a spiritual insight. But I think a lot of Geminis will have intense dreams around this time. I basically put together my bullet points for this full moon last night before I did this video today. And then I had all kinds of intense dreams. And when I plan my videos, I'm always channeling the energy. So I believe all the stuff that happened to me last night in my sleeping state, my dream state, was from the channeling of this full moon energy. Some of you may have intense dreams around this full moon time as well. What I love about this 6/12 axis for a full moon in Scorpio is that there's movement. There's definitely movement and some sort of, I believe, truth or revelation or epiphany or something, some dark energy being moved. And maybe, you know, the revelations you get could be around, they're probably going to be from the inside out because it's the 12th house, but it may have to do with your health. It may have to do with a work situation. It may be telling you 6th house, Scorpio energy, we have to detoxify anything having to do with health or habits or a work environment, a toxic boss, all those things. That's not negotiable for Gemini people with Scorpio in the 6th house. Okay, so let me pull a card for you, beautiful Gemini. Let me pull a card for you. Your card is Heart, Home, Compassion. Look at all the red and orange energy. This card is full of fire. And clearly the word compassion is saying, are you giving yourself compassion? Are you giving others compassion? But there's also, to me, survival. To me, the red is also about our survival fears. And it's saying we can experience home from within our hearts, which is not always an easy thing to do. But I think that because Geminis can be quite intellectual, including myself, we can spend more time in the mind and our intellects than is good for us. We sometimes neglect our hearts. And we sometimes, like, I invite you right now, Gemini, even to just take a breath into your heart. Some of you may have heard of the Heart Math Institute, which has shown that when we breathe in gratitude through our heart, we bring all of our energy into what's called coherence, that calms the nervous system. And there's something about breathing into the heart and in the back of the heart too, your shoulder area, your left shoulder area and your heart, that brings you into a place of calm and peace, and from which you have compassion. You can source compassion for others and for yourself. And I feel like the message of this card too is saying some of you want a new home. Some of you want to have a home that is in alignment with you and your energy, and to feel like your home is more of your sanctuary. But I also feel like it's saying this is your heart and your home is within your heart. And the more that you attend to your heart, listen to your heart, follow your heart, the more you will feel peace and ease and contentedness within your being, beautiful Gemini. If you want to claim your own compassion and heart, or claim that you have the home of your desire, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Taurus. Hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, you are going to experience the full moon in Scorpio in your 7th house of relationships. This can be romantic relationships. This can be business partnerships. This can be any relationship in which you have the other person's back and they have your back. What's important about this full moon is that because it's on your 1st and 7th house axis, the sun is in Taurus, your sign. Uranus is in Taurus, your sign. You well know this by now. The sun and Uranus are together. They're moving closer and closer together. I speak about all of that in the first part of this video. The 1st house with Uranus, you know, talking to the moon in the 7th house, this is definitely having to do with your relationships, this full moon. It will very likely come through a moment of awareness, understanding, revolution, or something that feels disruptive. But here's the thing, Taurus, Uranus is in your sign, and it's very possible that you are the one getting the epiphany. You are the one that's getting the awareness or the understanding that you didn't have before and communicating that to the other person. That could just as well happen as another person bringing a Uranus moment to you. We often think of Uranus as the Tower card in the tarot, where, you know, something is coming down, but it's not always that. It can be that. It can also be a breakdown, breakthrough, breaking free. Uranus ultimately wants to free and liberate us, especially emotionally. Because the first house where Uranus is about our roles and our status and our identity, our vitality, our appearance, all of that. Because of that, you may be, if this full moon is making any sort of close connection, activation of your Taurus energy, whether that's your ascendant or a planet or point in Taurus in your first house, if this is true, you could be going through some sort of shift in role, whether it's a role with a partner, a romantic, relationship, or whether it's a role in your work life or in any other thing that you do in which you you would say, this is what I do. This is my title. This is, where I'm expressing my purpose. Some of you could decide that you really are going to make a change in your appearance, or that you are working on your physical vitality right now. You are doing something to improve your, energy levels, for example. But there's a strong message that came through when I was looking at your energy, Taurus, and that was to value yourself, to really focus on what you need to feel free, emotionally free, free in your life in whatever way. Some of you want to start your own business and you don't want to work for someone anymore. You're done with that. It's like been over and done for you for a long time, even if you stayed in that work. Others of you are really done with a relationship, or you don't want a relationship and you're just working on your relationship with yourself. Or you are, so a full moon in the 7th house can be that you're taking it to the next level, you're committing to somebody, or that you are breaking up. And Uranus opposing it can be something that you could be on your way to solidifying, committing, and then something can happen that you didn't expect. But that doesn't mean it's the ending. It just means that it's information you didn't have before and now you do, or it's fears that are coming up that were not coming up before. And for some of you, it will be an ending. Okay, so Taurus, or an ending of a pattern, a pattern of a dynamic in a relationship that you are realizing. I think a lot of us honestly are going to realize we ended these unhealthy dynamics a long time ago. And this full moon is just going to really show us how far we've come. I think that's going to be true for many of us, especially because Pluto's retrograde. Pluto's retrograde. That's taking us back to something from the past. It could be thoughts of our past. It can be dynamics of the past. It doesn't have to be a specific person or situation. Let's see what the cards have to say for you, Taurus. Your card is straddling worlds, wandering between realms. Absolutely. Absolutely. What I love about this card is this person is really in their warrior pose, like a yoga kind of warrior, like a spiritual warrior pose. So cool. One wing is pointing up to the heavens. One wing is down here. And to me, this looks like throat chakra, saying what you need to say and knowing the truth of who you are in your highest frequency, all the light. You have a foot in this very earthly realm. You have a foot in the very spiritual realm. And that is not easy, straddling the worlds. That is not easy to have one foot in each world at all. At all. That takes a lot of finessing. That takes a lot of spiritual warrior skill and know-how. It really does. And focus and courage, a lot of courage, Taurus, a lot of courage. So when you're wandering between realms, you could just also be feeling like you're dipping into the other realm a lot in your dreams, or you're doing it consciously in a way of manifesting. You're such a strong manifester, Taurus. That is one of the gifts, the superpowers. And I do have a video for everyone on the superpower of every sign. But one of your superpowers is manifesting. Manifesting. You do it well. But when you've had some sort of awakening moment, epiphany, or something disruptive happen, sometimes it can throw us off for a bit. It can. It's meant to awaken us. It's meant to expand us. It's meant to show us what we have to release and let go of. It's meant to help us detoxify something. But it can temporarily make us feel like we don't have it all together. And that's not easy for a Taurus person because you really identify with your earthly abilities. But just know, Taurus, that wandering between realms, even if it feels at times like you're lost, you're not lost. You're just having your spiritual journey. And that's a really beautiful thing. And if anything I shared resonates and you'd like to share, leave me a comment. I would love to hear. Aries. Hello, beautiful Aries. Aries, how are you feeling with Neptune in your sign and Saturn about to enter your sign? This is such an important time for you, and I speak all about the power of this in my May astrology video if you haven't watched that already. But let's talk about this full moon for you. This full moon is happening in your 8th house of power and control. This is the house that's associated with Scorpio energy. This is the house of death and rebirth, transformation, emotional and sexual intimacy, money, the money that we share with other people, the long-term assets that we have, the things that we look to for stability in a financial way, loans and taxes and debts as well. The 8th house is the house of power and control for a reason, because it's the things that we emotionally attach to that we don't want to leave. We want to keep them. We want to grow them. We only want to see growth. We don't want to see the stock market fluctuate, all of these things, most of us. I know a lot of you probably have learned to work with all the stock market fluctuations and really, use the market to your advantage, and more power to you for sure if that's something that you do. However, a lot of us don't have that know-how, and we can get really triggered during a full moon like this, especially if there is stock market volatility, which I believe that I don't want to put it out there, but it's possible that there will be. That said, Aries, this is the house of reclaiming your power. This full moon wants you to lean into any fears of financial fluctuation, lean into any fears having to do with a partner, lean into any fears that have to do with another person in your life and your commitment or lack of commitment, whatever it is for you. Where you want support, we often want support from a partner in this house, whether it's a business or partner or a romantic partner. And this full moon is saying, be your spiritual warrior self and move into the fear and release it, purge it, feel it, let it go. Tap through it if you like to tap. I'm a big proponent of tapping, as I already shared in part 1 of this video. We all have the modalities that we prefer. For some people, it's taking a run. For some people, it's lifting weights until they feel like they sweat it out, dancing your prayers. There's a lot of different ways we can do it. The Sun and Uranus together will be in your 2nd house, and this is the house of self-reliance. This is the house of you relying on yourself to meet your material needs, your earned income, your values, your self-deserving, your self-worth, self-esteem, self-love. So Uranus going through the 2nd house can mean a change in income. It can mean something fluctuates. It means sometimes that we were making money one way and we're going to shift it to something else. We want to add a side gig. We want to do something new and different. We want to express ourselves authentically in a way that we haven't before. And this is where we can get really bright ideas for bringing in more income. We can get really bright ideas for doing something that we haven't done before, that makes us feel more in alignment with what we love, in alignment with what we love and what is speaking to us through the cosmic intelligence, Uranus. So you are receiving this full moon energy on your 2nd and 8th house axis, which is a financial axis. It's a partnership axis. It's the axis in which we reclaim our power to be rooted in this material realm financially and with our possessions and with all the things that bring us comfort and help us to fulfill what we need to live an earthly life, and do it in this without coming from fear, without coming from letting survival fears take over our actions, coming from love rather than fear. Beautiful Aries. So that is your mission, should you choose to accept it, for this full moon. So let us see what the cards have to say for you. And It is a manifestation for some of you. It is and this could be like a wonderful business deal coming through. This could be like getting new clients. It could be um, um, solidifying, committing to a relationship in which you are now sharing resources. Maybe somebody has been close to you, they're moving in with you, or they could be moving out. It can happen either way. Okay, so endings, completions, or manifestations, full circle moments. That's a full moon. Let's see what the cards have to say for you. Aries. Aries, your card is curiosity. What I love about this card, it's called the Stranger. And really what this card is saying, first of all, you can see that this person is like the bionic person, right? They're like superhuman. They are able to think a thought and bring it into reality. You see the like flying sparks of light. You see this, they're very, what do I call it? They're like an extraterrestrial person. They're very superhuman. They're superhuman. And you know, if we walked down the street and saw someone like this, right, we might go, that's a strange entity. That's a strange person. That's a strange thing. But I feel like what this card is saying is, rather than pushing something away that feels strange or different to you, be curious about it. Approach it. Feel out the energy of it. This could be referring to an idea, to a partner that's acting strangely. It could be referring to anything in your life that feels strange to you, but sometimes strange is just new and different. And we're meant to innovate with a moon opposite Uranus. We're meant to invite in the new and different. We're meant to let it evolve us, whatever is happening. And you can notice in this card that all of this green, this person is in a forest. If you see the trees, they're in a forest. And this is like a green pond. And to me, this is the heart chakra and the water of Scorpio, and saying, when you are curious and when you embrace what seems different to you, you can heal your heart. So for some of you, there's a heart healing here in expanding your mind, expanding your heart, welcoming in the new, different, and innovative. If anything I shared resonates for you and you want to share, let me know in the comments below. Pisces. Hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces, you will experience the full moon in Scorpio in your 9th house of expansion. You are getting a trine from this energy, and trines are really lovely aspects. They're the easiest, most flowing aspect that we can receive. It's Scorpio's water to your water. And the 9th house of expansion includes publishing, it includes teaching and learning, it is long distance travel, new horizons, new scenery, metaphorically or in your actual travel, higher learning. So there is a real sense of freedom, adventure, and, you know, widening our vistas in the 9th house. That's where the full moon is happening for you. That means you could be having an ending or completion, meaning that you're graduating from a program, you are, you know, ending a trip that you've done that's to an exotic place, that you are moving perhaps back from some place that you lived before that was far away from where you come from, or you are manifesting it, you're starting it, you're planning it, you're bringing it into fruition. This house also includes our beliefs, our spiritual beliefs. It includes our philosophies. So some of you could be cutting ties to a religion or something that you used to think was true, or, you know, you could be a relationship could be ending for you, and you could be having to shift a belief that you would always stay in this relationship, for example, or that you could always heal a relationship on your own. And sometimes when we go through an ending of a relationship, we have to realize no matter what I have done, I couldn't single-handedly, quote unquote, fix this on my own. So something like that could be happening for you as well. Now, the sun and Uranus are in your 3rd house. Both the sun and Uranus are opposing the moon in Scorpio. So that brings in 3rd house themes. And what this means with Uranus going through your 3rd house is you could be having a real change in mindset right now. You could be changing the way you communicate. You could be having a lot of communications with others that feel discombobulating or expansive to you in some way. The third house is the house of everyday moving and shaking and, transactions, buying and selling, signing leases, getting mortgages, all those things. Also, it involves relationships often with siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, or neighbors, or landlords, or mortgage brokers, or people that, have to do with our home or location in some way. It can be having to do with the location of your office or anything that you do that you do on a regular basis that's up for change. This is a moon that is showing us either an outer change or an inner change, an emotional change, a releasing of some sort of emotional baggage. So for some of you, that could have to do with one of the relationships that I just mentioned to you. Also, Pisces, some of you could be working on a website or working on freelance work, starting a business, working on a business, fine tuning or changing up some work that you do that, looks like freelance work in some way, your own business, or where you have the freedom to call the shots. And this is the house of networking, local networking. So where you have the coffee dates and you're calling people, and it's a lot of back and forth with other people. Uranus here says there are new ideas coming in for you. Some of you, it's the house of ideas. It's the house of possibility, often very mental, because this house is ruled by Mercury, and that's our thoughts. It's very mental. But Uranus can also be like, you have an opportunity to buy a new car that you weren't expecting. It's expect the unexpected. You have the opportunity to take a short trip. You have an opportunity to do a long weekend. This can be really wonderful energy for you, especially because it's a trine to your energy. And the Sun and Uranus are in Taurus, which makes a sextile to your energy. So the moon trines you, the Sun and Uranus sextile you. So your Uranus moment, rather than being a shock or a jolt, could be for you something more like a new opportunity, something you didn't think of before. Someone showing up and saying, have you thought of this? Why don't you try this? Or you just get connected with a new person or people that you weren't expecting. Keep in mind that because Uranus is transiting your third house, I want all of you to be safe. So please keep in mind that Uranus is connected sometimes with cars. And I want, I want to encourage you to, get your car serviced, all those things. Be extra careful during a moon like this when you are driving, just because this is, Uranus can bring in those things that have to do with electrical. Your car doesn't have to be electrical to have a Uranus moment in your car. Just saying. Not expecting that any of you will have an experience like that, but I hope that some of the experiences that I've had in my life, I can use to help some of you avoid anything that was difficult. Or, just an appliance in your home. Something could go in the blank. But again, this is a really positive, very positive, positively supported full moon for you. Pisces, let us see what the cards have to say for you. Beautiful Pisces. You get... This is such a perfect card for the third house. It's about mindfulness, and the third house is the house of the mind. It's mercurial ruled. It's our thinking. And the card is saying your mind might be too full right now. Empty your mind. It's also saying beware of group think. Group think. What I love about this card is the color in it is so much creativity, so much artfulness, so much beauty, right? But there's a lot going on in this card. It looks like a dream, like a nighttime dream. When you have those dreams and you write them down and you're like, that was a crazy dream. There was so much going on. It went from this to this and this. When you have like multiple chapters of a dream in one dream, there is the strength of the tree and the tree's roots, reminding us to put our roots into the earth and to pull up mother energy and to keep ourselves grounded. This is a moon in which we're definitely going to want to ground our energy. Uranus energy can really mess with the nervous system. But the main message of this card is, and you can look at all the different images, you can pause the video and see everything that's inside of this card. There's a lot. There's a blooming rose. There's so much beauty in this card. but it's saying be careful that you don't get swept up in what another person says or does, or what a group thinks, maybe what an industry thinks. Maybe, you know, sometimes we can have these perceptions. Uranus rules our perceptions. We can have these perceptions that I can't do this because of such and such that's going on now. Is that really true? I invite you to use that phrase. Is this really true? Do I know for sure that this is true? If it's a limiting belief, if it's a limiting thought, especially because the ninth house where the moon is ruling your belief systems. Could it be that there's a belief that is in the way of your expansion or of what the universe wants to bring you, what your own soul wants to bring you? Could it be that your mind is too full to receive new, invigorating, exciting possibilities? If any of what I'm sharing is resonating for you, beautiful Pisces, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Aquarius, Aquarius, beautiful Aquarius. You are going to experience the full moon in Scorpio, a quite emotionally intense full moon in your 10th house of career legacy, life purpose expressed, retirement or semi-retirement, the house in which you are being asked to connect with what your heart wants most, what would bring you purpose, and let yourself have it. Let yourself say yes to it. Some of you are going to have or are in the process of a new level, or how should I say it? A new chapter, more like a new chapter, could be level for some of you, in how you spend your time. We could call it career, but I know that not all of you have a career, and some of you are, because you asked me, what if I'm retired? And so the 10th house is just your most public self, you out in the world. And if you say, well, I'm not out in the world, I do my whatever I do from home, I don't see people, I'm a hermit. You take what I'm sharing and you apply it to your life, because you don't have to be out in the world either. But the 10th house is often where we are our most public selves, where we are interacting with others. And maybe it's on Zoom, as so many of us do now, or maybe you are traveling. There's so many different ways that we can be expressing this energy. The Sun and Uranus are across from the 10th house in your 4th house. What does this suggest? It suggests some sort of change or some sort of disruptive moment for some of you in your 4th house of home and family. It can be another person that's a family member. It can be a neighbor. Usually neighbors fall in the 3rd house, but it could be something happening in or around your home that somehow feels that's creating change. Some of you are a family member is moving from your home. You could have a child going to college. You could have a spouse moving out. You could be moving out. Something changing in the home or family environment, or you receiving some sort of awareness or understanding or epiphany about your home or about your family of origin that causes you to do healing on or with your inner child, or ancestral healing that is positively life-changing for you. Aquarius, with a full moon in Scorpio on the 4th and 10th house axis, there is something I believe going on in either your work or career or home life that is calling for, is it your soul? It's an expression of your soul moving forward in life, moving on for some of you, moving forward. You're getting a square from this full moon, which means that you're motivated to make a change. Some of you have to make a change. Some of you are what you would say, I'm being forced into making a change. Others of you could feel like you're being nudged into making a change, but squares often feel like tension or pressure that then moves us into action, because humans don't like tension and pressure, and we will do what it takes to relieve that. And that's the positive of a square. It gets us moving. So Aquarius, this is an ending, a culmination of something coming to fruition, a manifestation, something that is over or beginning. We have to have something end before we have a new beginning, before we have a door open for us. And for some of you, you could literally be graduating from a job. You could be leaving a job and moving into your own business, starting your own business. You could be moving out of a home. You could be building a home. You could be remodeling. Uranus in the 4th house can definitely show that a house is being remodeled, or a room is being remodeled even, or that you're going through and you're like cleaning out the basement and you're like, doing Uranian things. Like you know how a basement or an attic or a closet even looks when we decide that we want to clean it up and clear stuff out. It can look way worse when we start that project than when it even started. That's the craziness of it. So be gentle with yourself in whatever process you are in, beautiful Aquarius. Be gentle with yourself if you're just starting a new business. It can take time to build a business. Treat yourself with the loving care that you deserve, and let's see what the cards have to say. For you, beautiful Aquarius, your card is, this is such a good card for this moon. You are moving out of stagnation. One of my favorite cards in the deck, it is the Dust Devil. Something for some of you is the dirt's being kicked up. This looks a little bit like a tornado. I'm not saying you're going to have a tornado by any means, but you could feel emotionally like there's some stuff being kicked up. What with the dust devil shows up when we have to acknowledge something that we have been sweeping under the rug. We haven't been tending to it. We have been stagnant in some way on some level. That's when the dust devil shows up and says, we are going to move you into emotional freedom. But to do that, first we got to kick up what isn't working for you. So beautiful Aquarius, if you are ready for emotional freedom, if you are ready to make some sort of a change or move, either in home or career or with a family member, if you relate to the Dust Devil card, whatever you want to share, leave me a comment. I would love to hear. Capricorn. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. You are getting a sextile, which is an opportunity or a solution, something being resolved from this full moon in Scorpio, which I really love for you. It is happening in your 11th house of friendships, allies, your online presence, any social media platforms you have. If you have an audience, you don't have to have an audience to experience the joy and the pleasures of the 11th house. The 11th house, or a manifestation, because after all, a full moon is a full circle moment. Oftentimes something manifesting, it can also be something ending or closing out. This is the house of friendships as well, and it's the house of branding and marketing. It is the house of fulfillment in whatever the current dream of your life is, and also long-term financial gains. So with a full moon here, any of these themes could be coming up for you. It is the World card in the tarot. You could be, Capricorn, really thinking about, or doing the work on receiving an epiphany or an awareness on what is next for you. What do I want now? What is the dream of my life right now? The Sun and Uranus are conjunct in your 5th house of children, creativity, love and romance, your inner muse, your inner child delight. And so Uranus can be really giving you some creative breakthroughs right now, or your kids could be doing something different. You could have a child leaving the home. You could have a child acting out. You could be dealing with parenting learning right now. You could have a love and romance that is different from any other love or romance you've ever had, or a love or romance could be breaking up. Uranus can show up when we are going through some sort of a breakup, when we are going through a massive change, when we are going through a change in our thinking. But also Uranus can show up when we're having those eureka moments and those quantum leaps too. So some of you could be getting that next great idea that turns into a book or a play or a one-person show or a painting, a song. Obviously, many kinds of ways to express ourselves creatively. A movie. Very, very exciting. And in the first part of this video, I talk about when the Sun and Uranus will exactly conjunct and what that means for everyone. But Capricorn, what is lighting you up right now? What is your dream? Where do you want to have a presence? Where do you want you could also be getting some support during this time, or you could be feeling like a person, a friend that supported you, an ally, or a group that supported you, that's not in alignment with you anymore. That's closing out. That could happen too. So Capricorn, just remember that you are getting a sextile and that the Sun and Uranus and Taurus are trining you. So this can really be delightful Uranus moments just as much as they can be discombobulating ones. Let me see what the cards have to say for you. Capricorn, for your Scorpio full moon, bold step forward, the farther gate. You are on a journey and the light is shining through. This card shows me that there is a light bulb moment happening for you during this full moon. There is an epiphany. I would intend it. I would ask for a breakthrough. I would ask to receive. I would ask to receive what I most want to receive. It's 55, double five. That is change, transformation, and freedom. This is an idea, a possibility, an opportunity that will free you, but it's going to require you to adjust to a change. It is change. It's double change, double five. For those of you who have five energy in your numerology, you understand this. If you have a five life path, if you have a five birthday, you get this. I have a five life path. I know about change. Fives came here to move through change. When you turn 55 too, anytime that the number five is very much front and center in your life, this is when we go through what can be a lot of discomfort to go through a transformation, all in the name of our soul's transformation. It takes courage. But Capricorn, you have the courage to draw on, no question, from your heart. And as you can see, there's the stability of the earth all around you. Your earth, the earth of Taurus energy, even though Uranus is in Taurus and Uranus is destabilizing, the sun is in Taurus and that is stabilizing. And the light is guiding you forward. The light is guiding you forward. It's a farther gate. It's the new territory that I've been talking about with Neptune in Aries. So beautiful Capricorn, if you want to claim your bold step forward, I would absolutely love to hear. You will inspire all of us. Let us know in the comments below. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius, Sagittarius. You are experiencing this full moon in Scorpio in your 12th house of the mystic, rest and retreat, your expanded awareness, the subconscious mind, often a rewiring of our subconscious mind, your nighttime dreams, a very intense place to have a Scorpio full moon, but you are no stranger to Scorpio energy because it is in your 12th house and it can bring you quite incredible psychic downloads. You will be, I believe, very psychic during this full moon. And so you can have those lucid dreams, the astral travel, the venturing into the ethereal realms. Make sure and get my meditation if that interests you. It's free, a free download that you get when you sign up for my inspirational updates, because I mean to guide you into those ethereal realms in that meditation and help connect you with your divine guidance. Now, Sag, the Sun and Uranus are opposite you in your 6th house. You've experienced Uranus in your 6th house for a while now. What does it mean? It's your house of daily work, habits, and health. So a lot of you, I think by now, have probably, because Uranus is getting to the end degrees of the sign, you've probably experienced change in your health or a change in your habits. Some of you have healed an addiction. Some of you have changed your work situation. Some of you have had a breakup with a coworker or a boss. You know, you've been through change in this house with Uranus here. But now Uranus is going to activate the sun and it's going to oppose the moon in the 12th house. And what that means is that something through work or through any daily routine that you have, something in your daily life could feel like it's disruptive and it's opening you up to a new awareness or a new psychic power in your 12th house. So inadvertently through that, or not inadvertently, there's nothing truly inadvertent. Synchronistically, what's going to happen is that's going to expand you in some way. It may be uncomfortable when it happens, but it's going to expand you in some way. It's going to show you more of your spiritual power than you had before. It could be a dream that reveals something to you from a past life. That's what lucid dreams can do. They can show us what we've experienced before, and they can be tremendously healing. Oh my gosh, tremendously healing. So, Sag, this is also, it's not just a discombobulating moment for some, it can be a full circle ending moment. Maybe some of you realize that you have psychic mediumship talent here. Maybe some of you decide to do a spiritually based business. It could be an epiphany that moves you in that direction. That's the whole point of this full moon big picture opposite Uranus, is to free you emotionally, to help you release some emotional baggage, some of you, so that you can say yes to the new thing that your heart wants, the new, whatever is going to make you feel most authentic, most true to you. So, Sag, I am very curious. Let us see what the cards have to say for you. For your 12th house full moon, so psychic. That's a wow. I love this card. The joyful muse. Yes, yes, yes. And the message is inspiration. It's time to be inspired. What I love about this card is the innocence of this cat that is being really silly and quote unquote crazy. Got to be crazy sometimes. And is just filling itself and whatever is in its vicinity with joy and pleasure and delight and laughter. Are you ready for more laughter, Sag? I'm just looking at my notes here in the 12th house, and I keep going to the number 12. Interesting that the moon is on May 12th. And the number 12, 12th house is really, 12 reduces to a 3, which is the number of creativity. So I feel that some of you may really have a dream, a nighttime dream that really opens you up to something that you weren't looking at before, some revelation. And I do feel a real breaking free for some of you. I feel, when we let ourselves be inspired, when we let ourselves get silly, when we just dance or play or whatever, just for the quote unquote fun of it, that's when we can say F it too. F it. I have a whole, this is like the very first thing I uploaded on YouTube. I think in 2009, it was a long time ago when I was only doing spiritual coaching. I interviewed the author of F It Therapy. I think that was the name of his first book. Anyway, I did an interview with him and I loved talking to him. John Parkin, I believe his name is. When I was learning about his book and his teachings, it was very inspiring to me. That may inspire some of you. It's like a podcast, basically. Sometimes we just have to say, F it. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with that. I'm starting over. I'm giving myself permission to feel free. Sag, if you're ready to feel free, if anything I share with you resonates for you, leave me a comment. Let me know in the comments below. My beautiful friend, thank you so much for joining me for the Scorpio full moon video. Thank you for liking this video, for giving it a thumbs up, for your comments, for your shares, for your subscribes. When you subscribe to my channel, you make a huge difference. And thank you for all the ways that you support my channel. I cannot express how much it means to me. If you'd like to do a private reading with me, I have lots of choices for you on my astrology page on my website. We can do a heart's desire, a life purpose, a natal chart, a relationship harmony reading. Go to my website, check out my offerings. I can also offer you a clarity session if you would like coaching support. And when you go to my website, you will see the testimonials that some clients have shared after working with me, and that should give you a sense of whether we would be a good match. As promised, I have a free gift for you. That free gift is a soothing guided meditation, so perfect for an emotionally intense full moon like this. Go to my website. You can subscribe to my weekly inspirational updates for free, and you will get my free instant download guided meditation at the same time. My beautiful friend, let me know how you are feeling about this multi-layered, deep diving water full moon in Scorpio. What's coming up for you? I love hearing from you. I love reading your comments. And until my next video, I am sending you all my love.